why am I still single? It's a question that a lot of people ask themselves. And it's one that can feel really loaded with a lot of pressure that we get from social media and just our society. Especially if you're in your 20s or in your late 20s, but this kind of applies to any age. My name is Natalie and welcome to my channel. Today, I want to unpack why do we struggle so much to find a good relationship or a partner. We're gonna dive in some fascinating psychological research, but also I'm gonna give you some insights from my own personal experience. We'll talk about social context, social media, the myth of a soulmate, and even limerence. By the end of this video, I hope you will find some meaningful insights for yourself or your friends. Have you ever met those people who have been using dating apps for forever and still really struggle finding someone that would stick around? Or maybe you're one of these people. If that's the case or you're just curious, please continue watching this video. Let's talk first about social context and the paradox of choice. Everybody knows that nowadays we all find our friends, partners, whoever on the internet, whether that be social media or dating apps. And dating apps like Tinder, Hinge, or Pure, I don't know the names, have been a part of our society for quite a long time now. And one of the biggest issues today is something that psychologists call the paradox of choice. Many studies show that when we're presented with many options, our ability to make a choice actually decreases. This can also be called the choice overload. Psychologist Shaina Iyengar conducted a famous study showing that too many choices, more than about 7, can lead to a decision paralysis. In his book, The Paradox of Choice, just like Sheena, psychologist Barry Schwartz talks about how too many options can actually lead to anxiety, stress, decision paralysis, and dissatisfaction. Imagine this in the context of dating. Dating apps alone provide you with endless options. You can swipe 100 profiles every day if you want to. This overload can also lead us to second guess. And this can be really annoying because it kind of leads you to thinking, well, maybe there's someone better out there. What if the next swipe was your ideal partner? While we can't cover all the aspects of Barry Schwartz's studies and his book, and I also can't say that I agree with everything he said, he actually said that the secret to happiness is low expectations. So we already have this big problem of how to find somebody and where. Let's not forget that we have a lot of pressure these days, not just from society as it is, but even from social media. Social media has made this whole thing more complicated. With all the Instagram posts and stories and TikToks and Reels and YouTube videos about perfect relationships and perfect lives, amazing families, and all that. Many of us end up chasing a fantasy. This creates an expectation to find somebody who's already ideal. Often, in the context of social media, often is wealthy, successful, and accomplished. We all know this trend, like I'm looking for a man in finance, 6'5", and I know it's a harmless joke, but still it kind of has an impact on girls. There's still this kind of pressure for heterosexual girls, at least I think so, that you have to find a man who's so great, who's already really successful, and so on. And we kind of, in my opinion, value less and less real human qualities and sometimes focus on what I call like a resume qualities, It's not all bad though. Studies have shown that marriages nowadays last longer because people are more eager to find somebody who's better for them because people don't really rush into marriages anymore, and we kind of take our time to really understand and realize that this partner is gonna stay with us and we love him and they're nice with us. So luckily we have less abusive relationships, but I'm not saying that it's 100% true. Even though there are way less marriages in general. It's also because actually people get married way later nowadays. Anyway, all the social media trends of girls saying that you, girl, have to find somebody wealthy and successful already, somebody who's ambitious and so on, it kind of makes us look more outward instead of inward, meaning creating a checklist mentality and looking for some kind of profit in all relationships, not just romantic relationships. Friends, even if you're looking for a new friend, you kind of want this friend to give something to you so you don't waste time on them. And I just think it's a very bad thing to start with. I'm not judging if you're looking for somebody wealthy, just saying. It's okay. I just suggest, what if instead of focusing on what society and social media tells us that we need, what if we asked ourselves, what do I truly want in a partner? Not what's trending, not what's necessarily gonna give you a lot of benefits. What genuinely matters to me? Am I looking for somebody who's kind and nice and caring and loving and faithful with me? Or do I want somebody who's really, really successful in their own life? Or maybe all together? But let's move on to section 3. The Soulmate Myth. The Notebook, Twilight, How I Met Your Mother, Friends. All these popular movies and shows repeatedly push the idea that there is just one person out there who can truly complete us. Books like Pride and Prejudice, Eat, Pray, Love also make it easy to get caught up in the idea of an idealized partner, creating an almost addictive view on romance. And I know exactly what I'm talking about. So is this idea of finding just one right person actually just a soulmate myth? This concept has been around for centuries, and while it sounds nice and romantic, it can actually kind of set us for disappointment. Believing in a soulmate can create unrealistic expectations. And I know this really hurts, but I think there might be no real just one person out there for you. But wait, there actually might be a lot of them. Psychologists like Dr. Di Paolo have written about how this belief can make people feel inadequate and overly critical of both themselves and their partners. This idea of a soulmate often leads to ignorance of the importance of growing together, of learning things together, of getting better together as a couple, and of supporting each other's goals over time. It's just true that sometimes people are so focused on finding the perfect partner that they miss out on a lot of meaningful connections that can develop into something really beautiful. I've personally met a lot of people who have been looking for a partner, and I know that you guys can just tell me that, well, why are you telling us that you have to lower your expectations? You have just really, really low expectations from people. It's just because you have really low standards, so your partner is actually shit, but you don't want to see it or you ignore it. I mean, you can say whatever you want. I'm just telling you my opinion, and it's a little bit based on studies as well. But personally, I've met a lot of people throughout my life who have been looking for somebody, but then they find someone and they always look for stuff that they don't like. So it's kind of the argument why they should not be dating. And sometimes they just miss out on people. I'm not saying that they should be together, you know? I'm not even talking about red flags, but sometimes people just say that everything is a red flag and we forget that people are actually humans. So we cannot be perfect and ideal all the time. And I just strongly believe in that. I think we have to be mindful of others, people's bad qualities as well. And of course, if it's something that you cannot deal with, for sure you should not talk to this person anymore. But if it's just mild, small little few things, or I don't know, you don't like their car or whatsoever, or you don't like the way they're chewing, I think just people pay too much attention to just little things that should not be that important. True love is not something you find, it's something you build together. Look within you. Mental health and self-work. If you're an adult and you can support yourself, you have some free money, therapy can be super beneficial, especially before diving into serious relationships. Also, interestingly enough, according to a study that was published in the Journal of Family Psychology, children of divorced parents often experience emotional struggles in their own relationship and actually divorce in their lives more. They have more anxieties with commitment and conflict. Therapy can really help us unpack all these issues and just give us a clearer picture of our own needs and boundaries. And I also strongly believe that if more of us people did this self-work and have gone to therapy, we'd see way less heartbreak and trauma and fewer people carrying trauma from relationship to other relationship. I can give you a random example. If somebody cheated on a person and this person have not gone into therapy, they have not dealt with this problem, they didn't really think about how this affected them. And this is a really harsh heartbreak. There is just a very, very high chance that they're gonna bring this trauma to their next relationship. So they will be more controlling, they will be more anxious, still have those thoughts about the betrayal and all. And it's just gonna be harder for their partner as well because of all these trust issues. I really like this quote: "You can't pour from an empty cup. Take care of yourself first." Next thing I really want to talk about is limerence. It's something I found out about not so long ago, and this has really changed my whole perception of life. It's about falling for the idea of someone. It's something I've personally struggled with a lot. Limerence is an intense romantic infatuation that's often rooted in an idealized version of someone rather than the reality. It's essentially a feeling of putting somebody on the pedestal and falling in love with the idea of them, with the perfect idea of them. Let me give you a little example. So you've met this person. Let's call them Mark. So Mark is a very interesting person. You had nice conversations, deep conversations. You've just had one date. So you come back home and you are feeling really nice about this whole thing. Instead of just doing your stuff, you start to imagine how your relationship is gonna be like with this person, which is totally normal. But you kind of, the more you imagine, the more time you spend imagining this person, the more you idealize this person, the worse it will be. So you just sit at home and you think about how perfect this guy is, how they're so smart, how they must be caring and good parent material and all this. And all this is kind of a product of your imagination. Please leave a like if that happened to you at least once. I know that happened to me many, many times. So why I want to talk about this is because of this study. Neuroscientists have studied this phenomenon, showing that brain's reward system gets activated where we're in this intense sense of longing. So imagining. Think of it like this. When you're imagining a romantic dinner with someone, with your perfect person, your brain actually releases the feel-good hormones, dopamine and others, just from imagining that scene, as if it was really happening. What's the problem then? Well, first, it's really addictive. Second, it often has little to do with the actual person and, well, real life. Learning about limerence really changed the way I see relationships and people in general. It helped me realize that the qualities that I value for myself in another person, like kindness, empathy, authenticity, and intelligence, and other, are way more valuable than any external ideal. And just understanding that thoughts of perfect person, perfect situation, ideal dates, it's just gonna lead you in a corner where you're not gonna be happy with real life. Because when you're just dreaming about all these things that have nothing to do with the reality, you will be really disappointed in real life, and you'll realize that, well, why would I even go and do something in real life if I can just live in my dreams, in this idealization of somebody, because in your daydreams there will be nothing bad, whereas in reality there's a lot of things that are completely unexpected. Things can be ruined quite easily, and if you have those ideal big expectations, just know that it will be ruined. It's just a sad reality. I'm not saying that you should never dream about all these things. That's just still do. I still love it, but I know that I have to remind myself that this is not real. That the reality is different. Anything can happen in reality, and romantic situations can be ruined and people can actually be bad even though you thought they were amazing. Please let me know in the comments if you want to see a whole complete video about limerence, because I can talk a lot about this, but I don't think we have time in this particular video. So if you're single and you're looking for a partner, remember that this time is a chance to get clear on what you want, on what you actually need, and just look inward. Understand your own value. Consider going to therapy and doing some self-work, meditations, whatever works best for you. Trust me, this will make your future relationships better. Finding someone isn't about checking boxes or fitting a mold that others expect. It's truly about connecting, finding genuine connections with people. And that can only happen when we know ourselves. Also remember that being single isn't something to fix. It's time for growth, and the right, not the only one, person will truly appreciate that. Thanks for watching, and if this video resonated with you, feel free to leave a little like and subscribe to my channel. Share your thoughts down below in the comments and tell me if you want a video on something else. I did not have time to talk about everything in this video, so please let me know what kind of video would you like to see next. My name is Natalie. I'm an actress living here in Paris, France, and I love to talk about psychology, relationships, I don't know, anxiety, anything you want. So please subscribe.